All right, well, let's just get right into it. We announced today on BJPen.com that you're fighting Shinya Aoki later this month on May 29th. How are you feeling about this? How are you feeling about this fight? Are you excited for the opportunity?
Yeah, very excited. It was pretty much a last-minute thing. They called up Katie and seen if I wanted to take the fight, and we jumped right on it. And it's a huge opportunity to be fighting Aoki. He's a top 10 guy, maybe even top 5. So definitely a big opportunity.
Okay, so there was no hesitation at all when you got the call. You nothing to it. You took it right away.
Yeah, I took it. I mean, the way I'm looking at it is it's a win-win for me. I have nothing to lose going into this fight, so I'm just going to go there and let it all hang out and, see what happens.
Okay, good. Now, I know that you fought just like about 2 months ago in Australia.
Right.
That was your first fight since leaving the UFC. So let's give our readers some insight on that. How did it feel to get back to action, and how did you feel in your performance?
There's a little ring rust. It was about 11 months since the UFC released that I fought in Australia. But overall, everything went well. I kind of wish I had gotten a chance to go down to Australia a little earlier and get acclimated and all that stuff. But we went down there, took care of business, and got the submission.
Mhm. And do you feel that definitely helps you now? You got some of the rust off as you prepare.
Yeah, and it's just surprising that I'm just amazed that a lot of other fighters wasn't jumping at the opportunity because to fight Shinya Aoki with such a big name and given the pretty much a week and a half's notice to take the fight, I'd figure a lot of guys would be jumping at the opportunity, and I was surprised that I was the only guy willing to take the fight on that short notice.
Right. Now what does a victory do here for you? Does that it obviously reinvigorates your career? Do you have aspirations to go back to the UFC?
Oh, of course. That's the number one goal is to get back to the UFC. And with the victory over Aoki, I'm sure that'll catapult me right back to where I need to be. I'm sure no one's giving me a chance in hell to win the fight against Aoki, especially given the time, the short notice on the fight. But that's why I love this sport of MMA. Anything can happen, and we'll see.
Okay. Now let's talk about what you've been doing since you left the UFC. A lot of people haven't heard from you. If they're not on BJPen.com and watching every detail, most people don't know what you've been up to. So what have you been up to in your time off? And have you been sticking in the gym and training and improving?
Yeah, definitely. I've been. I was in the gym the whole time. It's a lot harder to get fights post UFC than people think. You think just coming out of the UFC, you'd have all these offers thrown at you to go take fights here and there and whatnot. But if you ask any recently released fighter from the UFC, that's not the case. Fights are far and in between, and a lot of fights get canceled and all that stuff. So I just stayed in the gym. Kind of went back to just training, all the basic stuff, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, and all that stuff. And I think the time off kind of gave me a lot of time to, strengthen a lot of my holes and work on a lot of my weaknesses.
Okay. Where, in your opinion, where have you made the most significant improvements since the last time?
I feel like I improved a lot in my boxing and counter wrestling, I guess, and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like before I was the type of guy where I needed to take the fight to the ground to be successful, and now I feel I can win the fight on the feet. I can win it off my back. I build confidence pretty much is what happened over time. Just training and getting better, and building up that confidence of getting beaten up in the gym over and over. And I'm gonna try and go out there. I'm gonna try and knock Aoki out, and every punch I throw is gonna be bad intentions. And I know he's gonna be trying to take me down and submit me. So of course, I train with some of the best jiu-jitsu guys out there. So we're working on some pointers to hopefully not get sucked into Aoki's game.
Okay. Now, Speaking of who you've been of your trainers and whatnot, who have you been training with over the course of the past year? Who has been your main, coaches, trainers, partners, stuff like that?
Training partners, more so, I would say. There's not really one specific coach. If I had to, say a coach, it would be Troy, Rude Boy Mandalone is. But for the most part, just the same guys: BJ, Troy, JD, Reagan, and Ross Ibanez, Mike Ina. Just the same team we've always had for the past 5-6 years. But now that Troy's back in Hilo, we have more of a structured trainer with. Troy has a lot of experience, cornering and all that stuff, so that's helped. And he kind of brought that family aspect and team aspect back to the gym that we were missing for a little bit of, everybody being together, all on the same page and supporting one another. So that's one of the best things that's been going on now. And I just feel like, now's the time to do it. I'll probably never get another chance to fight Aoki, so why not do it? And, before I even said yes to the fight, I went and asked, BJ and JD guys and all those guys, what do they think? And they all said the same thing. You got nothing to lose. It's a huge opportunity. Go out and make the most of it. So that's the plan.
Okay. Now, we're under 2 weeks from fight night, just shy of 2 weeks. How much can you actually prepare and put together a game plan for this fight with given the time that you have?
It's not much, It's no secret that Aoki wants to take the fight to the ground. I don't want it to go to the ground. That's first and foremost. And all I can do is go over, certain stuff that I'm anticipating Aoki to try and do, and go and ask BJ and Reagan and the high-level black belts that we have here to, how do I defend certain submissions that Aoki's going to try, and basically. My game plan is to keep the fight on the feet. His game plan is to take it down. So, the thing with Dream, this happens all the time with U.S. fighters getting caught to fight high-level opponents on short notice, and it sucks, but that's the name of the game, and, we're just going to step up and see what goes on.
Okay. Now, you did mention earlier that you've been working on your defensive wrestling. Do you think, in your opinion, that your defensive wrestling and your takedown defense is going to be enough in this fight to keep it on the feet?
I hope so, but Aoki's a crafty veteran with a lot of fights, and he's one of the top guys for a reason. He gets people into his world where he wants them, and that's where he finishes. So he tries to suck people into coming after him with punches, overly aggressive, and that's when he gets his takedown and stuff. But we're going to just try and not play into his game and be aggressive, but not overly aggressive where it sets me up for takedowns. And, I think Aoki's wrestling isn't nothing spectacular. His jiu-jitsu is awesome, but his wrestling is nothing great. If I can stuff a few of his shots and build confidence in the fight, I think it'll do a lot for me.
Okay. And have you guys talked about who's going to corner you for this fight? Do you have your corner picked out already?
Yeah, BJ's coming out with me, and Rude Boy, Troy's coming with me, too.
There's going to be BJ and Rude Boy in your corner for this fight.
Yeah. So,
how important
it'll be interesting.
Go ahead.
What's that? Sorry?
I was going to say, how important is having BJ in your corner, being that he's such a high-level black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you're going up against a grappling sensation? He's going to be able to maybe coach you from the sidelines on maybe transitioning from positions to get you out of trouble. Do you think that's going to be a big factor in the fight for you if it goes to the ground?
Oh, big time. Having a guy like that is you can't even, that's a huge advantage for me, having him. Ultimately, it's me in there in the cage with Aoki. So, we're going to go over all the techniques that we think he's going to do. Obviously, like foot locks and leg locks and those kind of things. So we're going to be looking at that, and just an extra boost of confidence when you look over your corner and you have, one of the best fighters in the world there with you to support you, and, it just gives you that much more confidence.
Okay. Have you ever fought in Japan before, Shane?
Never fought in Japan before, never been to Japan, so it's going to be exciting.
Okay. This is in the big arena, the Saitama Arena.
Yeah.
probably expect a pretty good turnout there too. This is for the actual event itself. The proceeds are going to help Japan, the tsunami victims and the earthquake victims that happened back in April, I think. Give me your thoughts on actually just going out there and being part of this event in that arena and what that means to you.
Yeah, I've been a fan of MMA way back since the Pride days and all that stuff, and I always wanted to get a chance to go out to Japan and fight. And, now I got the opportunity to go and fight. And like you said, sometimes, they have upwards of 80,000 people in the crowd watching, and they're real respectful of the whole martial arts aspect and all that stuff. And, we're fighting for a good cause right now, Japan's had a lot of turmoil over the last month or two with the tsunami and all that stuff. So it's just gives a broader meaning, I guess, to the whole dream of me fighting in Japan, plus the cause, we're fighting for Japan. So it just makes it a whole lot better.
Okay, perfect. A few more questions and I'll let you go. Did you happen to see, I'm sure you saw it actually, the Gilbert Melendez versus Shinya Aoki fight?
Yep, I saw that fight. Gilbert fought a good fight, and seems like he frustrated Aoki after, stuffing his takedowns, and Gilbert Melendez, beat him up on the ground too and stuff. So he took it to him when nobody thought he should go. He went there and beat him there, and he didn't let Aoki fight his fight. He fought Melendez's fight for 3 rounds and ended up on the bad side. So it's definitely a fight that I'm looking at to try and see if I can mimic some of the stuff he was doing. But, Gilbert's one of the top fighters in the world as well. So, for him to do what he did to Aoki is not easy, definitely.
Right. That was going to be my next question. Do you think you can implement somewhat of a similar game plan to Gilbert, as Gilbert did?
That's definitely, the road that I want to try and go and follow some of the same stuff he did. But, I'm not Gilbert Melendez. I'm Shane Nelson, so I'm sure Gilbert, excels in a lot of things that I don't, and vice versa and whatnot. And, he's been around the game forever. He's one of the best top 3 in the world. So, I'm going to try out and go out there and fight a similar fight, and hopefully I can be just as successful.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, and I don't know it. Maybe I should be doing my due diligence a little bit better. But is this event taking place in the cage or in a ring? Do you know?
I believe it's in a cage, but I'm not even sure either.
Oh yeah.
I believe Dream's going with that white cage nowadays. Yeah. The last couple of shows.
Yeah, they've been using the cage. I think they've been kind of flip-flopping a little bit. Maybe they're going to the cage full time now. I really don't know.
Yeah, I haven't even found out if it's a cage or anything. I would prefer it be in a cage, just because I fought a lot more of my fights in a cage rather than a ring, and it's not opposite for Aoki. He's fought most of his fights in the ring and not in a cage. So, if I had a choice, it would be a cage.
Okay. If it is in the ring, then we don't know that at this point, but let's say it is in the ring hypothetically, is that a disadvantage for you, you think?
I think it's more of an advantage for him rather than a disadvantage for me, just because, like I said, he has majority of his fights in the ring, and I have my majority of my fights in a cage, and, defending takedowns against the ropes and stuff is a little different than against the fence. So it'll play a factor. I mean, not too much, but a little bit. I'm sure it'll be a factor.
Okay. And how's your weight? How's your weight going right now? Are you in an acceptable place where the cut's not going to be bad for you?
I'm about 165 right now, so I got about 9 pounds. 11 pounds, because it's 154, the fight in Japan. So
right.
That's a battle in itself too. So I'm, given the time, and in Japan, if you have any tattoos, you can't go into the saunas and stuff. So I got to try and get as low as possible before I leave to head out to Japan.
Okay. And do you know when you're actually leaving?
I think we're looking at Sunday or Monday, this coming Sunday or Monday, so we can have some time to acclimate up there and get some training up there. But as far as exactly when we're leaving, I'm not sure, but that's when we're shooting for, Sunday or Monday.
Okay. Perfect, Shane. All right, man. Well, that pretty much covers everything I need. You've given me a lot of information here. Is there anything else that you want to say that maybe I missed? Any messages to the fans or any other thoughts on this fight?
No, just I'm just thankful for the opportunity. I'm going to go out there and leave it all in the ring, and I definitely won't, try and it won't be a boring fight. It's either somebody can finish, it's either me or him. So, tune in and check it out. And thanks to all the fans on BJPen.com for the support, all the Hawaii fans for the support, and thanks to my team for coming out with me on last minute.